Today I'm going to tell you about a completely non-obvious reason for pain between the shoulder blades. Stay with me until the end and I'll show you an exercise. You'll only need to do it for 1 minute a day and you'll get rid of this pain you've had for years. I had a patient who suffered from this pain between the shoulder blades for 23 years. Can you imagine? He flew in to see me because he had already been to everyone, literally everyone and everywhere. He had even seen some well-known osteopaths and manual therapists. In the end, after an hour and a half of intensive work, we managed to relieve the pain syndrome that had tormented him for 23 years. Look, if you have pain between your shoulder blades, there is a very high probability that you have a bend or kink in your gallbladder. There were two great scientists, great doctors at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. One of them lived here in Moscow. His name was Grigory Antonovich Zakharin, and there was also Henry Head, or as some say, Henry Het, who independently of each other created a kind of mapping, a map of the human body, and discovered a very interesting thing that we have referred pain. That is, our internal organs have connections that are reflected in certain areas of the skin. What does this mean? It is characterized by a decrease in temperature in the area at first, or either a decrease or an increase in temperature, a change in body temperature in some very small localized spots. Referred pain, when the gallbladder is not functioning well, appears in two spots. Between the shoulder blades, exactly at the level of the fourth thoracic vertebra, right in the middle between the shoulder blades, and at the level of the fifth rib, right here. But usually no one feels pain here. But today, by the way, today I'll show you how to find this point and determine if your gallbladder is twisted or kinked. How does this work? Look, during embryonic development, germ layers are formed from which a person fully develops. And it is from the ectoderm that our nervous system and the outer layers of the skin develop. And these doctors simply map the human body, identifying such zones on the skin, areas on the skin responsible for internal organs. Where does the kink come from? As they say, we all come from childhood, right? Now look at how a child thinks. A child thinks catastrophically. When you scold a child, know that you may be causing irreparable harm to their psyche. And what is catastrophic thinking? That is, it's either black or white, right? It's either very bad or very good. That's how our brain works. That's how a child's brain works.
That's a fact. I saw it on PBS.
And so when you scold them, they experience a state of acute stress. The fight, flight, or freeze system is activated, right? And what happens then? In 2021, an article was published stating that during acute stress, the cells responsible for contracting our gallbladder and for intestinal peristalsis begin to die. That is, thanks to these cells, contractions occur in our gastrointestinal tract. Accordingly, if a person, especially a child, is under prolonged stress, what happens to them? These cells begin to die off. The number of cells that contract the gallbladder decreases. So what does the gallbladder start to do? It starts to sag, right? It doesn't contract enough, it starts to sag. And all of its little tubes, the ducts, right, that go into the lumen of the duodenum simply start to bend or kink. It just hangs there like a bag, right? It doesn't contract properly and then, bam, it sags and a bend or kink forms. And here you have the reason for pain between the shoulder blades, which hardly anyone will tell you about. By the way, I forgot to mention I have a Telegram channel where I talk about unconventional causes of pain syndromes. I explain how all our organs and systems work and are interconnected, what affects them, and most importantly, what to do about it. I'm leaving the link to my Telegram channel in the description below this video, so go ahead and subscribe. And now, as I promised, I'll show you an exercise that you only need to do for 40 seconds a day, and it will get rid of that years-long pain between your shoulder blades. We need to find the fifth rib on the right side. How do we do that? Here we have the collarbone, right here. Right below the collarbone is the first rib. We press in. Then comes the second rib, press in. Third rib, press in. Fourth rib, press in. And the fifth rib. Here we are, we're on it. We're on it now. Here is the sternum right here. Our ribs are attached to this very sternum. And here it is, about 1.5 to 2 centimeters from the sternum. Here is where my sternum ends. Well, how much is here? Maybe even a centimeter. I'm quite small, I can feel it, but it doesn't hurt. But in general, this point will be very painful for you. And one more thing, our fifth rib bends at a slightly different angle. So it's actually pretty easy to find. So I look, here the rib goes like this, here it is, and then bam. And now the rib goes like this. This point on the fifth rib is the gallbladder point, another gallbladder point. It resonates with pain between the shoulder blades. Or here's another option. You can ask someone close to you to press on this point where it hurts, and at that moment, you start changing your position. What do? For example, bam, you lean over this way. In about 80% of cases, it will be to the left and you lean your back slightly backward, just like that. If you can't find it on the rib, then ask someone to press really hard on the spot that hurts between your shoulder blades, right on that fibrous band, on that muscle pain. You found that spot. For example, you turn around, bam, the pain is gone. If the pain is gone, it means that at that moment, the gallbladder has started working again. We've created the conditions for bile to be released from the gallbladder. What do we do next? Find the spot. Place your hand there and making the sound ah, start tapping for 40 times or 40 seconds, like this. We tap under the right rib cage, right where the ribs are. When should you do this exercise? You should do this exercise in the morning after drinking a glass of hot water. So you wake up, drink a glass of hot water, do this exercise, and then have breakfast half an hour later. And in about a month to a month and a half, the pain will subside, and it might even go away completely.